Assalamu alaikum. This is Mike Ghouse with the World Muslim Congress. We are producing a series of short videos about different aspects of Islam. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the fountainheads, what made Sharia an issue with the world. We're not talking about the Sharia that was originated some in 7th and 8th century, but it is initiated in the last 50 years. We have witnessed the likes of Brotherhood, the likes of Maududi movement. Why do we need to talk about these movements? Because Sharia, first of all, is a human effort to interpret Quran and the sayings of the Prophet to serve justice to humanity. And that's fine. But because it is human effort, there is full of errors. There are some critical errors, and these errors are not from the past. It's even current. Maududi, about 50 to 60 years ago, wrote the laws about jihad and about other issues that have become almost like God's words. And that is not fair and right to Muslims. Everything except Quran should be questionable. We have to question the veracity and the righteousness of that. Many of the laws supported, propagated by Maulana Maududi go against the very essence of Islam, that is building peaceful societies where no human has to live in fear of each other but rather fear of God. So now I'm going to ask our Sharia expert, Mr. Hasan Mahmud, to share a bit about Maulana Maududi.
Well, Assalamu alaikum. I can really share only a bit, because dissecting Maududi is actually dissecting the present world order of Muslim societies today. It is adequately discussed in my book. First of all, his interpretation of Islam is violent, and he has imitated the political Islamic structure which was created before, and what he did, he modernized it. He used beautiful terms, Islamic state, Islamic finance, Islamic culture, Islamic this and Islamic that, and he was a very good orator. His speeches were very much penetrating to common people who have no idea about Islamic theology. It's all brainwashed by emotion based. But then again, if you go to his books, say Islamic Law and Constitution, page 140, he says that no Muslim or all Muslims of the world combined together has no authority to make little change in God's law. Now, he didn't even define what is God's law, and we see that some of the God's law are contextual, some are for that society, and some are eternal. But people mixed it up willfully. If you go to Maududi's Tafhimul Quran, you will see in chapter Nisa, verse 24, he explains that raping captives is allowed. And the ruler can distribute the captive women to the soldiers, and they can sell them in this condition, cannot sell them in that condition. So he legitimizes slavery in the name of Islam.
How does it go against Quran?
Oh, the Quran did its part successfully. The slavery in Quran, slavery in Islam is a chapter itself. We can discuss it in another chapter, slavery in Islam. The Quran abolished slavery. I will explain by documents.
But for Maududi's case, how he is against Quran?
Well, in his explanation, if you go through the Quran, he explains the whole Quranic verses, but he avoids the most critical verses. He doesn't say anything about those verses. Like, what is Quran? The Quran explains itself in few verses, that the Quran is a book of hidayah, admonition, advice, guidance. He avoids that verse and goes to the next verse. The Quran is a book of enlightenment, Kitab al-Nur. He kept silent about this verse, goes to the next verse. And the Quran is a book of zikr. Surah is verse 9. He just skips. Everywhere the Quran defines itself as a book of guidance, book of admonition, book of nur, he skips. Now come down to the mission of Prophet. The Quran categorically, in about 30 verses, clearly said what is the mission of God's Prophet. Advise them. You are not there. You are not responsible for them. You are not a warden on them. Just give them the advice. If after this nobody follows, you are not responsible. Maududi skips each verse of it. And at the end, at one verse, he said, the Prophet's, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his duty was to give the message to people. After that, if nobody believes or follows, that he was not responsible. He said it. He said it. Then why to kill the apostates?
Yes.
So his self-contradiction is so evident. He says one thing here, another thing there. Contradictory. Just contradictory.
As a Muslim, you are responsible for your deeds, and God is going to account it for that on the day of judgment. There is no need for anybody to enforce those laws on anyone.
There is no broker in between Khaliq and Makhluk.
And the creator and
yes,
the created.
It's not only writing and speeches. What Maududi did in 1953-54 in Lahore. He created the genocide on Ahmadi Muslims. 15,000 Ahmadis were killed in one city in 3 days, 5,000 per day. And Maududi initiated it by writing a small booklet, The Qadiani Problem. So he was a criminal of genocide. And when Pakistani army committed genocide on Bangladesh, Maududi was the Amir of Jamaat-e-Islami, Pakistan Jamaat-e-Islami. He supported it. He never talked a word against it. So actually in the court, Maududi was given death sentence for this massacre, genocide. Now at the end, his sentence was omitted, and ultimately the government pardoned him. But remember, he was pardoned. He was not acquitted of the crime by the court, by the legal system. He is still a criminal of genocide.
Let's go back to the issue where he said women captured in war, in bounty, can be sold off, can be done anything. How does it go against the principle of Quran?
That is included in the chapter of slavery, because we are talking about captives.
I just address this little issue, then we will talk about that separately.
No, this issue cannot be addressed in piecemeal. It has to be one segment, so we can do it in another go, only on slavery in Islam.
Fine. Thank you very much.